Good afternoon. Today we're going to start Megilat Eicha. This is part 1. So before I start, I would like to wish refuah shlema to David ben Miriam, Fortune bat Esther, Avraham ben Chana, Ora bat Dalia, Shimon Daniel ben Michal, Ditza Hadas bat Chana, Baruch Yonatan ben Chaya, Rafael Chaim Meir ben Sima Chasha. And this shiur is for Le'ilui Nishmat Avraham ben Binyamin, Yaakov ben Binyamin, Miriam bat Binyamin. And for all singles to meet their true partner soon, Be'ezrat Hashem, true partner in life. She's Kul Livnot Bait Ne'eman Be'Israel. And thank you, Hashem, for all the chasadim, all the kindnesses, all the good things that you have done for us in the past and continue to do for us. So we are getting closer to Tisha B'Av, and I would like to explain certain passages from Megilat Eicha. We read Megilat Eicha on Tisha B'Av. So Yirmiyahu Hanavi is the one who wrote the Megillah, and he's the one who predicted the Churban, the destruction, and he lived through it. When he saw the destruction of Yerushalayim, so he compares Yerushalayim to a widow. And so in the first Pasuk Aleph, he says, Eicha yashva badad. How is it that this city of Yerushalayim, and when he says Yerushalayim, it means the people, Ben Israel, right? That Yashva Badad, Rabati Am. Now it is sitting all alone in solitude. It used to be full of people. It used to be alive. Aita ke'almana. All her inhabitants are gone. And now she's like a widow. Yerushalayim is like a widow. Just as a widow is without a husband, so too Yerushalayim is without her inhabitants, her people. Rabati Bagoim, Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim was a city that was important in the eyes of the nations of the world. Sarati Bamdinot. Yerushalayim was like a princess. Yerushalayim, Ben Israel ruled over all the other nations. Haita lemas. And now, all the nations used to pay taxes to Yerushalayim, to Ben Israel. And now, it's Ben Israel who have to pay taxes to the nations, because now the nations took over Yerushalayim. Bachor tifke balayla, in Pasuk Bet. Yirmiyahu says, Yerushalayim cries at night. V'dim'otea al lecheya. And she cries so much that her tears constantly, they come down on her cheeks. That she just cries and cries and cries. En la menachem mikol ohavea. From all those who loved her, none can comfort her. Kol re'ea bagduba. All those who loved Yerushalayim rebelled against her, and they became her enemies. All those who loved the Jews, now they rebelled against the Jews and became the enemies of the Jews. Yirmiyahu Hanavi says, when he says Eicha yashva badad, he refers to Yerushalayim, but also to the Shekhinah, to the presence of Hashem. That because the Beit HaMikdash has been destroyed, however, the Shekhinah, Hashem did not leave, that's why we have the Kotel, which is the only remaining wall standing up in Yerushalayim. Hashem said, I burnt my house, I destroyed my city, I exiled my children amongst the nation, and now I must sit alone. Hashem is like in solitude, all by himself. The concept of solitude reflects two extremes. So when Moshe blessed Ben Israel before his death, he said Ben Israel will dwell, they will live securely and in solitude. In solitude meaning that they'll be on their own, they won't need anybody. Bilam praised Ben Israel and said, a people that dwell alone. It means they take care of themselves, they are good on their own, they don't need other nations and will not be counted among the nations. They don't need to be together with other nations because they can figure things on their own. In the Torah, solitude is good for us as a nation, so we won't mix with others. But Yirmiyahu sees Israel's solitude as a reason for mourning, for evil. Why? What is it? When Israel is alone among the nations, but one with Hashem, following the Torah, performing the mitzvot, her solitude is one of majesty. It's a good solitude. We know what we are doing. We're following the right way. We are blessed. We have everything that we need. We don't need other nations. But when Israel is truly alone, when is it where her connection with Hashem is broken? Then her solitude must be mourned. Then it is evil. The Mefashim explain that there are three expressions in the pasuk that reflect three different expressions of mourning. Eicha yashva badad. How is it Yerushalayim is sitting in solitude by herself, all alone? This refers to Yerushalayim's physical destruction. Bet HaMikdash is gone. People are mostly gone. Barely anyone was left. Houses were burnt, destroyed. Ha'ir Avati'am, the city that was filled with people, it was alive. That refers to the spiritual ruin. Bnei Israel sank very low because of their sins. Therefore, the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. They couldn't go any lower than that. And by the way, Chachamim teach us that in every generation, that the Bet HaMikdash is not built during that generation. It is as if the Bet HaMikdash has been destroyed in our generation, in that generation. And then, Sarati b'mdinot hayta namaz. Nations used to pay taxes to Yerushalayim because Ben Israel ruled over other nations. Now they have to pay taxes to the nations, and this refers to the bitterness of the galut, of the exile from Eretz Yisrael. According to the Gemara, there were 12 million people living in Yerushalayim at the time of the Hurban. Wow. It's a lot of people. It really is. But Yirmiyahu is, and talking only about Yerushalayim, but Yirmiyahu is not talking only about the amount of people. He's also referring to the Chokhmah that came out of Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim was a center of Chokhmah of the world, when with all these qualities, Yerushalayim was destroyed. From these heights, Yerushalayim went down to become a widow. So Yerushalayim cries at night, and her suffering grows, doesn't diminish with time, because we are still in Galut. Yirmiyahu cries for future suffering. He doesn't only cry for what happened now at his time with the destruction of Yerushalayim, but he sees that this is only the beginning of the suffering of Bnei Israel. Mitzrayim and Assyria, Egypt and Assyria, they had been helped by Bnei Israel many times when they had wars, and they needed help. This time they turned deaf ears to the cries and suffering of Ben Israel. Ammon, Moab, and Bavel, they used to pay taxes to under the rule of Ben Israel, and they enjoyed a lot of good from Ben Israel. They should have joined Ben Israel in the rebellion against Nebuchadnezzar, the enemy. Instead, they joined Nebuchadnezzar against Ben Israel in the destruction of Yerushalayim. The Midrash Shimoni asks a question. Who are the friends who rebelled against Yerushalayim? Who are these people? And they joined her enemies. So according to Midrash Shimoni, these people are two malachim, Gabriel and Michael. Those two malachim, we know they are really our good representatives in heaven. They are our good lawyers. They always protect us and speak good for us. So how did they rebel against us? When Ben Israel sinned, Hashem asked the Malachim, Gabriel and Michael, who do you love? They answered, Am Israel. Against Hashem asked, who do you love after Ben Israel? And they answered, the Bet HaMikdash. When Hashem heard it, he said, I promise by my name that that you will burn the Bet HaMikdash. And right away, they took torches and burned the Bet HaMikdash. The Zera Shimshon, he was a big Talmid Chacham who lived, Mekubal, who lived in time of the Or HaChaim about 250 years ago in Italy. He only had one child, and that child died during his lifetime. And the Zera Shimshon, Rabbi Shimshon, he promised that anyone who would learn from his Sefer will be blessed with many, many blessings. So the Rash Shimshon says, it seems from the Midrash that the answer from the Malachim was not such a great answer after all. We need to understand why it wasn't a good answer. Number two, because of that answer, they were sent to burn the Bet HaMikdash. But we also know that Nebuchadnezzar, actually, the king of Babel, actually he burned the Bet HaMikdash. So what happened here? Who burned the Bet HaMikdash? Why are they called rebels? Why are these two Malachim, Gabriel and Michael, why are they called rebels? It seemed that they spoke against us, against Ben Israel. And they were forced to burn the Bet HaMikdash. So for tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem, we will go deeper into this and we'll get the answers to these questions. So may Hashem bless us all with bracha, hatzlacha, bri'ut, parnasa, parnasa tova, nachat, shalom, chokhmat chaim, vesimchat chaim, וזיווגים.